She Said is a 2022 drama directed by Maria Schrader, starring Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazan. This is a movie that shines lights on decades of silence having to do with sexual harassment in Hollywood, revolving around Harvey Weinstein and his production company. So before I get into the actual review, I just want to remind you guys, if you're liking the content here, make sure to subscribe to me down below, leave me a comment, drop me a thumbs up, and all that good stuff. And I also want to remind you guys that I am doing a giveaway on this channel, and I will post the link to that in the description below as well. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So I've just seen this movie. I've been sitting on it for about 24 hours now, and I do have to say that I'm a little lukewarm on this. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm sort of just in the middle. So let's start off with the good. The good are the performances. I'm hardly ever disappointed by a performance that Carey Mulligan gives. She's fantastic. She's been around for a while, but most people will definitely know her from A Promising Young Woman that came out a few years ago, which I believe won Best Original Screenplay. But Carey Mulligan has been in the business for a while. She's a fantastic actress, an actress from the UK. It also stars Zoe Kazan. She's most known playing opposite Kumail Nanjiani from The Big Sick, which was also making the rounds during award season. And I do want to say that they have great chemistry. I feel like they would be friends off screen. Nothing really felt awkward with the dialogue between them. So the performances, fantastic. So not just from our two leads, but everybody else in the supporting cast. The second thing I want to praise this movie for is the script. The dialogue in this movie is so sharp and very realistic. It didn't feel phoned in. It didn't feel like, hey, this is my line I'm supposed to read and this is your line you're supposed to read. Although once we get to the negative things, there are a couple of scenes that don't really work, that feel a little bit awkward, but I love the performances and I love the dialogue. But that's about where my praise for this movie stops. So towards the end of the film, I was like, man, how much longer is this movie? And I don't like feeling like I'm waiting for a movie to end, but that is how it felt for me, at least, unfortunately. So the pacing was an issue for me. Editing is very important for movies like this, especially regarding the subject matter. I feel like a movie like Spotlight did it better. The editing was sharp, it was fast, it was quick. You didn't feel the movie dragging. That's not to mitigate this movie's message at all, because the message of this film is very important. So I don't want anybody to think that just because I don't particularly like the pacing of this movie, that I don't like the message that the movie is bringing to light. I just think that the pacing could have been a little bit sharper, the editing could have been a little bit sharper. Secondly, as far as having a center of focus, it felt off to me, or the movie doesn't feel like it has a main character that you can really just latch on to. And there's nothing wrong with having a co-lead, but I feel like in a movie like this, I feel like we need one character who is the focus. So when I say the film feels like it doesn't have focus, I just mean it feels like there's no main character. And then lastly, I feel like shooting back to the pacing issues is that instead of really focusing on the message of this film, it focuses a little too much on the characters and what's going on with their lives. It sort of halted the speed of the film when it should be this quick, in-your-face, investigative journalism, boom, 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 boom. But it was like boom, 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 stop, boom, 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 stop. And so it was kind of back and forth for me. I had issues with the movie just being a little bit unfocused, and I feel like the runtime could have been maybe 15 minutes shorter. But again, they could have solved that problem by cutting out some of the characterization moments that we really didn't need for this type of storytelling. But overall, I do think that this is a movie that people need to experience at least once, especially if you want to know more about the inner workings of what was going on involving Harvey Weinstein and these sexual assault allegations and trials and cases and the women that were behind it and just what led up to his eventual conviction. It is interesting in that aspect. As far as being in comparison to Spotlight, there is resolution. It just felt like it was a bit of a bumpy ride finally getting to the end of the film, and that's why it wasn't particularly gelling staying with me all the way through. But again, I do recommend it if you are interested in knowing more about what was going on with Harvey Weinstein and his production company. It's currently streaming on Peacock, and I'm not sure if it's streaming anywhere else, but I do know that it's on there. As far as its chances for awards this season, I don't think it's really making too much of a buzz to be considered for anything, especially with Women Talking also being out at the same time. So I think this one is just sort of falling under the radar, unfortunately. I mean, it has a good Rotten Tomato score, so I mean, people are liking it, but I don't think it's generating enough buzz to really get into any of the major categories. So yeah, thank you guys again for listening to my review of She Said, and until next time, remember to be awesome and stay true.